I mean, you can marry so many different options in there. So, okay, so now I'm going to do a different treatment in this corner. One thing I do want to point out, because I do make errors on occasion, of course, and you can kind of see here, it's not that I made an error. What I did was I treated this separately from this cornerstone. And in most cases, nobody is ever going to notice that. Now, for the corner treatment I'm going to do, I'm going to notice that. And here is why. And you can kind of see what happened. I went in a half of an inch, came up to this line, stopped, pivoted my smaller ruler, and came down that line. Now, I did the same thing here. Half inch, pivot, half inch. What I should have done in this corner, if I would have had the forethought to know what design I was doing, was this line I should have lined up exact at half of an inch, and then this line and this line I would have done at the same time. That way they would have lined up perfect. Because if you can see, this does not match that line. It's close, and 99% of people aren't going to catch it. But the border treatment I'm going to show you, I will know it. Now, so let me show you this. When we do this next border treatment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend lines straight through, and then I'm going to fill in every other one. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. So because of how I made this uneven, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to bring that there. I'm going to bring that there. I'm going to slide it in just a little bit extra because for the rest of the lines, I do want it to line up. And that is going to be one of the fill lines. So I'm going to slant it just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put my line there, there, and now I'm going to continue, and now I can use the line I made and do my half inch, half inch, half inch, but I want to make sure to make this line at the same time on both sections of that corner, because I do want them to line up perfectly. Now what I'm also doing to make sure that I'm keeping my angle right is I'm using my straight lines on these lines so that that 45-degree angle stays true. Extend my chalk a wee bit. Line that up. Line that up. You start to see you're getting a little bit off. Now I need to move this down a little bit. You can kind of start to slant it back to home. Again, you're not a computer, you're a human. Most of the imperfections that we create because we have a human eye, most people are not going to notice. Okay, so now we have these lines, and now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead. We're going to slide up the side, up, back, side, up, back, or if I wanted to, I could always start here, down, over, back, down, over, back, down, over, back, whichever you prefer. I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to thicken my side line, and that would have been that 1/4 inch in line coming up. There we go. Come back down. Pivot my ruler. Line it up. Again, I've got sticky stuff on the back of my ruler. In. Out. Travel up the side. Again, I'm going to go ahead and extend those lines so that I can see that a little better once my ruler hits there. Okay. Touch the line, make sure you don't overshoot. It's real easy to overshoot. You got to slow down a little bit once you hit that spot. Again, I'm going to replace my ruler. Travel up. Line that up, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there, back, forth, stop there. I'm going to lock my stitches, and I like to move my machine a little bit. I've got it set at 5 lock stitches. Now I'm going to do needle up. I'm going to drag just as far as I need to go to hit the spot I need to be in. Then I'm going to do my needle down. Now I'm going to lock my stitches again. Back. And now since I'm at this point, I don't want to have to drag back. So now I'm going to head over there, and now I'm going to go ahead and travel up that diagonal line. Bring that back a little bit. And if I look at my marked line based on with my 1/4 inch, getting that 1/2 inch, I'm going to go ahead. I'm only going to use the lines that I made as a basic guide. I'm going to let my ruler be my main guide for that. Line that up. And again, I'm checking with my straight line that's on my ruler to make sure that I'm lining it up with that so that I get that nice 45. Come back, forth, forth, And again, I am noticing, of course, that I'm off a little bit just based on my chalk marks. The thickness of the chalk has played into that. And so again, at this point now, I am erring to what the ruler tells me rather than what my line tells me. Because remember, your chalk lines are going to wipe away. That's not a big deal. So now I'm up there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come up here. I'm going to slide over here. And I'm going to start here, in, out, over, in, out, over. And I'm going to make sure as I hold that ruler that it lines up a 1/4 inch, not just from this chalk mark, because I don't want these to be off. I want them to be as close to symmetrical as they can be. I'm going to make sure here that I'm a 1/4 inch away, so that this line will start to match that. And that way that little bit off that's up here at the top, that's going to sort of blend in. And again, you saw what I said to do to make sure that you don't repeat the error that I made there. Okay, so now I've traveled up here. I'm on this side now to do the mirrored side over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my long, small 45 to get the length on it. I'm going to hold that down there. And what I'm also checking, the reason I grabbed the long one and switched from my shorter ditcher to this, is I want to actually line this up, not just over here, but I want to line it up over here so that it matches up fairly well, at least for that first one, and then I can kind of go from there and I know that everything will be good. So I'm going to come down, in, out, treble the ditch, line that up, and again I want to check for this both places. Go in, out, line that up, line that up, in, out, turn, line that up, line that up, in, out, ditch the outer edge, line that up, line that up, in, just skirt that outer edge there, out, travel the ditch, line that up. So here I kind of am in, here I'm just skirting the edge. Now obviously to your eye as you're doing it, that's going to be like, oh darn, I'm off just a little bit. That is not going to be visible. They will not notice that. That I can promise you. So, of course, when I line this up again, I'm going to go just a little bit forward because we're not going to get that tip in. And again, I want to line it up to here. I'm more concerned about where this hits here than anything else. I'm going to line that up. Now I'm going to go ahead, lift, drag, drop. Now I'm going to go ahead, in, out, back. So I did that one 3 times, and now I'm going to travel this inner line to get the rest of them. Let me get rid of my drag thread on top, and then I'll get rid of the stuff on the bottom once I remove the quilt from the frame. Okay, line that up. All is well there. And again, I'm going to check my line here. I'm still on the 45 as I look there. Now I can actually switch to my shorter ruler. Line that up. I always remind people it's good to have a lot of different size ditchers because you're going to need different size ditchers for different things. You're going to need a couple different tools in your toolbox, especially if you do client quilts. Line that up, forward. Again, I'm lining that up on the line, 1/4 inch, but I'm really also double checking over here to make sure that that line lines up as well. Out. Out. Back a little bit, in, out. Just a little bit further, line that up, in, out. In, out, out. Go ahead, lock my stitches. Okay. So now, get rid of those. I'll go back in there and clean that up just a smidge. There we go. All right, so now we have this. Now again, once I put the filler in, we get a little bit of a wider shot on that. Once we put the filler in there, that is going to actually match up beautifully. And let me insert a quick shot here of the other corner, which I've done perfectly. Okay, so now we're going to do this particular triangle. We're going to do it a little bit different than we've done the other few. And what I'm going to do is I am now going to make use of my bigger circles, and I'm going to add more circles. If we can widen the camera just a little bit. So what we're going to do is this guy over here before we actually put in the filler. Okay, so let's head back over here. So I've chosen for this particular one a 6-inch finished and a 7-inch finished because I want these spaces, the negative space here, to match up. So what I'm going to do is start with my biggest one first. I'm going to line that up, center it. And of course, I have some adhesive on the back of the ruler. I'm going to come over. Lock my stitches. Okay, I've got my ruler held stable. I'm going to go ahead, hit start, come over to the circle, and I'm going to go ahead and thicken that 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to move my hand, replace it that way, and now I'm going to continue around. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. come back down there, stop, move the ruler, I'm going to snip that annoying tail. Line this guy up, get that centered, on top of there, slide my ditch over, touch the ruler. Now I'm going to go ahead, 1, 2, 3, and if you ever start to get that ruler chatter, what's happening is I am pushing just a little too hard on my ruler, which is kind of forcing the foot away, and that's part of the spring and the ruler feet. 1, 2. That being said, I do like to have my ruler foot right up against my ruler, so I don't believe in just lightly brushing it. I do a nice push against there so it's firm. I just have to make sure that I don't push my foot out of alignment. All right, so now we have that done. So now I've created this space for that one. So let's go see what we're going to do differently now to the very center triangle, and then we'll talk a little bit about to fill or not to fill.